So we're here today with Christian Harris from Monstermortgage.ca, and we're actually going to talk about today the variable discount rate. And so Christian, it seems that oftentimes we do get a lot of similar questions from mortgage users and other clients and other people interested in working with Monstermortgage.ca. And so oftentimes it seems like a lot of these questions are very similar in nature. So actually what we did today is we pulled a couple questions from our emails, and we'll be issuing them to you today, so hopefully you're ready. We're actually going to start with Brian from Mississauga, and he asks, is there a standard variable discount rate suggested or even enforced by the Bank of Canada?
Well, that's a very good question. No, the Bank of Canada sets the prime interest rate, which is at 3% today. They meet 8 times a year to discuss that rate. Mark Carney is the gentleman who has the final decision on that, and they either increase it, decrease it, or leave it alone. The pricing off that is solely at the bank's discretion. A lot of banks will use that prime rate, and depending on the product, they'll price it off that prime rate. So for an example, an unsecured line of credit may be prime plus 2.5 to 4%, whereas mortgages historically have been prime minus. So it's totally up to the bank to decide what type of discount, if any, they want to apply to the prime rate, or if they want to charge a premium. But the Bank of Canada does set the prime rate, not the banks.
Okay, great, thanks. The next question actually is from Darren. He's in Thunder Bay, and he asks, why would rate discounts change? Aren't the prime rates pretty stable currently?
That's true. I mean, in the last 3 weeks, we have seen the pricing change on our variable products. The pricing has gone up. The cost to borrow for a variable mortgage has gone up 30 to 40 basis points. And it's very confusing because the prime rate has not changed. And what has happened is, one step further, is the Bank of Canada, when they met last time, basically Mark Carney did come out and say that he doesn't expect rates, that he'll be changing the prime rate anytime soon. Before that, the U.S. did come out maybe about a month ago, and said that most likely they will not be touching their interest rates for 2 years. So, why are the rates going up? It's a very good question, and the answer is the 6 banks. The 6 banks out there, and all lenders, I shouldn't just pick on the banks, but it started with the banks. They did start this out of the gate. If the prime rate does not go up, interest rates don't go up, the banks are not making that much money. So they decided to change their discount off of prime, which was once at prime minus 75. They've reduced that to prime minus 35. Some lenders are at 25. Because they know that the prime rate's not going up and they have to secure their profits, so they needed to change what they're lending their money out at.
Great, thanks. This next question is actually from Jim. He's in Aurora, and he wants to know, what should I be doing in today's volatile climate? Sometimes I lose sleep at night. Christian, please help me.
Well, Jim in Aurora, I'll gladly help you. Yes, historically, you've been better off taking a variable over a fixed rate. Let's be very clear here. The banks make more money on a 5-year fixed than they do on a 5-year variable. Your penalty to get out of a 5-year fixed rate is much more expensive than a 5-year variable. So right there's 2 advantages for the bank, 2 disadvantages for you, the client, Jim in Aurora. And no matter what the rates are, whether it's prime minus 35, prime minus 75, no matter if the fixed rates are 3.5, 3.30, the variable rate historically is going to be lower. You can always convert from a variable into a fixed. You cannot go from a fixed to a variable unless you pay that high penalty that I did mention. So, in my mind, the answer today is very simple. You take a variable, especially in the climate we're in today. Canada has pretty much come out saying we're not going to change our interest rates or increase them for a while. The U.S. has said they're not changing their prime rate interest rates for a while, a couple of years. Europe is having some issues, some crisis over there. A lot of countries are in big trouble, so there's no reason to think that our rates are going to go up anytime soon. You're going to save money, you're going to pay down your mortgage quicker taking a variable, regardless of a 35 discount or a 50 discount. This is the bank's way of getting clients to take fixed, and we truly believe that if you take the variable, at least in the short term, you're going to save money, and then you have the control and the option to do what you want. Thank you, Jim.
I can only hope that Jim in Aurora sleeps tonight.
Me too.
There's one last question. This is anonymous. We'd like to know, who is the best dressed in the Monstermortgage.ca offices?
Well, that's a very, very good question. You know, Stephen Parks would probably say that he's up there, but he's probably third or fourth. It's a tough call, but you know, this is a nice jacket I'm wearing today. That's all I'll say about that.